Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, sushidragonmasters, and today I am doing my July wrap-up. So in July, I read 7 books, and I actually probably would have had a chance to read more, but I have started rewatching Little House on the Prairie, started from the beginning and going through. I started this like a while ago, and it kind of gets distracting because I'll like stop reading and start watching, and then like every other episode several times I hear,
"Oh, it's the Garveys!"
That is my life. But anyways, also Booktubeathon happened, so I got a majority of these during Booktubeathon. I got all but 4 of them outside of Booktubeathon, so that is cool. Let's get into the wrap-up now. So the first thing I read in July was Crest by Marissa Meyer. This was a reread because I am working my way through the series a second time this year. And I gave this a 5 out of 5 because it is my favorite of the series. I mean, it's very Captain Thorne heavy, so that is the best. Captain Thorne is like my favorite character of the whole series. So this is obviously my favorite because there's so much Captain Thorne. I love this book a lot. It's awesome. If you haven't read this series yet, you really need to. It is so awesome. The next thing I read was my pick for the Sushi Dragon Reading Challenge of July, which was to start a new series, and I read The Winter's Curse by Marie Rutowski, and I gave this a 4 out of 5. It was really good. I'm not going to say it's bad, because obviously I gave it a 4. That doesn't mean it's bad. But, like, towards the end, it just kind of started, I don't know, I didn't really enjoy the ending as much as I enjoyed the rest of it. I feel like a lot of the stuff that went on in the end probably should have not happened in the first book, and it probably should have carried over. Probably would have made for a better series, but I haven't read the rest of the series yet, so I can't really talk about that too much because there's probably going to be more stuff that goes on. I also heard the second book is better, so if the second book is better, then awesome. I love it when second books are better. But if you love the book and you thought that it was done perfectly, don't hate me, because this is my opinion, and my opinion is literally only based on the first book. So if the rest of the books make it better and like I understand more of what went on in the first book after I read the other books, then I'll probably change my opinion slightly. But as of now, those are my thoughts. Then I started my very unexpected first day of Booktubeathon, where I read 3 of the books I read at Booktubeathon in one day, which is weird because I read 4 books during Booktubeathon. 3 of them were in one day. The first of those was How to Train Your Dragon by Cressida Cowell. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I pronounce everything wrong, that's just what I do. This was completing the challenges of reading a book with yellow on the cover, I believe was the color for the cover this year, and also reading and watching a book to movie adaptation. Although I did not watch the movie, I watched the last episode of season 3 of Race to the Edge. I'm sorry, the show really confuses me because there's like Riders of Brick, then there's Defenders, and then there's Race to the Edge. It's really confusing, but it was still an adaptation of it, and it had a cliffhanger, but we're not talking about the episode, we're talking about the book. So this book is not as good as the movie. I am sad to say that. Actually, I'm not, because that's like one of my favorite movies, so if the book's not as good, I mean, the movie's still awesome, so. But if you're not sure what How to Train a Dragon is about, it's about Hiccup and he trains a dragon. I guess basically, you know, but it's kind of in the title. So, the movie definitely has more plot than the book, because the book is targeted towards a younger age group. I think that the movies are supposed to be, or at least the first one was supposed to be targeted towards the same age group, but also kind of be a family movie. But then once the second movie came, that really all kind of changed, and the show kind of changed it, and the audience that it is kind of more geared towards now is probably not the same as what the book is. And the movie does take a whole new direction, and I do love the direction the movie takes, but the book just it really felt like it was the end, but also the first movie felt like it was the end, but then they shocked us with the second movie and it was awesome. And I mean, they did do a time skip, so I don't know if the book series does a time skip. I'm actually not planning on continuing on. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I'm not going to say it's terrible because it has a really good beginning, but there were just so many errors within the book, like editing errors that, you know, an editor would go through and fix, that weren't fixed, and that was really bothering me. And I do understand that probably, since it is targeted towards younger people, like, by younger people, I just mean younger than me, I'm not sure, probably about 10-ish, I would say, is the roughly 10 to 12, maybe, I don't know, I'm guessing here. You know, they might not care about it as much or even notice, but I noticed, and it got on my nerves. Toothless in the book just got on my nerves. I hated him in the books. In the movies, he's the most adorable thing ever, and I just want to give him a hug. And in the book, I just wanted to murder him. He was so irritating. And then Hiccup, he's kind of the same in both the book and the movie. He has the same personality, and he still has that, like, I want to be accepted by my father type attitude. He's just younger than he is in the first movie, and he's definitely younger than he is in the second movie. But still, it's not a bad book, and if you are interested in it, I would not stop you at all. Even if I didn't like it, I would not stop you because I have no control over that. Then I read The Power of Words by Edgar Allan Poe. This was for the challenge to read a book that is older than you, because this book was clearly older than me. It was a short story, actually, but short story book, same thing. Actually, it's not, but it is in my heart, so that's all that counts. This, I have no idea how to explain what it's about. I have no idea how to explain my feelings, because all that I came out with was confusion. I tried to read, like, things people wrote about it to understand it, and then I just got more confused, because it was something about using math to create things, and I don't get it. I gave it a 3 out of 5 because it was done in a cool way. Like, it was just dialogue, basically, between these two characters. I don't even know if they're people or what they're supposed to be, but they're characters. So that was neat. And it was well written. It was just really confusing, and I have no idea what he's trying to say. Then I read one of the short stories inside of the Demigod Files, and this was to complete the challenge of read something by your favorite author. I read Percy Jackson and the Sword of Hades. This actually is kind of a backstory of a character we see in the House of Hades. Where are you, House of Hades? You are here. Hello. And it was so good. I gave it a 4 out of 5. It definitely was not the best thing I've read by him, but even like when it's not the best, I typically give it a 4. Actually, the lowest rating I've ever given one of his things, I believe, was a 3. And that was the Titan's Curse, I'm pretty sure. So, it wasn't my least favorite, but it wasn't my favorite either, but I still loved it, because Bob is awesome. Bob makes everything better. And even though, at first I was like, where's Bob? Bob, where are you? And then I actually ended up getting into the story, even though Bob wasn't there yet, and then Bob came, and I'm like, hey Bob, I missed you! And Bob. Then the last book I read for Booktubeathon was the book that completed the challenge of read a book you discovered through Booktube, and that was Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. I gave this a 4 out of 5. I actually did not like it, but I gave it a 4 out of 5 for one reason and one reason only, and I cannot talk about it because spoilers, but it involves two characters from the first book, and it was the only reason that this book got a 4 out of 5. It was going to get somewhere between a 2.5 and a 3, and I obviously did not enjoy the story. It follows Isla and Josh and their drama of teenagerness, and it was a little too teenager drama-y for me. and I was kind of just wanted to yell at them, and they were frustrating me a lot. This is definitely not my favorite book of the Anna and the French Kiss companion thingamajigger, but it wasn't terrible because that one part made it all worth it, and I love that part. That was my favorite part of the whole book. It's worth reading all 300-something pages of this thing for that one part. Then I finished out the month by reading A Court of Thorns and Roses, or ACOTAR, by Sarah J. Maas. So, I'm not going to try explaining what this is about, because I tried in my book haul and I failed. I don't want to just read off the back. I don't want to steal everyone else's explanations, which may or may not be because I'm forgetting what they said. I just have no idea how to explain this book in words. But yeah, I gave this a 4 out of 5. For a while during it, I was like, oh, this book is amazing, I'm going to give it 5 out of 5. But then I stopped reading it because of Booktubeathon, and I was really enjoying this, and I didn't want to rush myself through it during Booktubeathon, so I took a break and read stuff for Booktubeathon. Then when I came back to it, it was just kind of, I had to get back into it again, and then that kind of affected things. So it was definitely really good though, and I loved it more than I thought I would, which is a common trend with me and Sarah J. Maas's books. I don't know why, but I need to stop doubting. So those were all the books I read in July. Comment down below and let me know what you read this month. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!